What tips would you give someone? Because I know you literally just said sometimes people aren't on the same page when it comes to debt. So for couples who are together, what tips would you give them to be on the same page when it comes to a debt-free journey?
I think when it comes to just money and vision in general, we have to kind of back ourselves out of the activity, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, to really see things from an aerial view. And what's really interesting is like when the new year begins, people are like vision boards and like New
Mhm.
Year's goals and resolutions. But I feel like I don't see as often people talking about their vision as a couple as opposed to one's individual goals and or your vision as a family as opposed
Mhm.
to your specific goals or your professional goals. And so I think that as a couple, if you've decided to do life together, then you want to be creating a vision together that includes your individual goals, and you want to be revisiting that vision to continue to make connection
Yeah.
to the things that you're doing, the activity, because it's be, do, have, right? And
Mhm.
so if there's a disconnect between, the debt-free journey and like how they want to execute it, or if one person doesn't really care or isn't as invested as the other, I think that to me is an issue of vision. We're
Yeah.
not aligned as far as what we see, because
Yeah.
I see it one way and you see it another way. And so we're working from whatever it is that we can see in front of us or what we see down the line. And so you have to take a step back as a couple and make sure that you're taking the time to sit and have a conversation about what you want to see in your lives, 1 3 5 years, 10 20, whatever, what your legacy you want it to be. How what you're doing now will directly either help you make progress toward that or hold you back from that. And then sometimes it's just a pacing issue. So one person wants to go really fast and the other person
Mhm.
is taking it a little slower. And so we're going to have to figure out, it's like a tandem bike. We're going to have to figure
Mhm.
what pace makes it so that we can both like ride the bike and not be like jerking back.
Yeah. We're about to fall off.
So to me, it really sounds like if someone's not on the same page, it's an issue of vision. Are we taking the
Mhm.
time regularly to have a conversation and then finding ways to remind ourselves throughout the journey about like where we're headed and what we get to
Yeah.
do as a family and as individuals? If my partner really loves travel, well, us being able to hit this goal makes it so that we can travel more. And so it's
Yeah.
connecting the dots for everyone involved, so we understand that the activity is directly going
Mhm.
to help or hinder the vision coming into fruition.
I love how like I you're so calm. I see like the therapist in you and how it just goes. And I'm just like, yeah, yeah. Because the vision is so important. And in my last like real relationship, our visions did not match. And it was arguments all of the time. And I was the person to say, like, okay, we're not gonna work. And he wanted to keep going. And I'm just like, our visions don't match. And I'm a firm believer as a woman, and I know I'm going a little off, but women and vision and letting your man lead. Like, I'm a woman who, if I see my man has a great vision, I can submit to that vision, especially if it aligns with what I want to do and who I want to be. And that was a relationship where I could not do that at because we were just two totally different individuals. And it lasted a year before I had to say, we're not on the same page. I don't think we even want to be on the same page. And our mindsets are totally different. So I had to like disperse. But I probably should have had that conversation a lot earlier, right? Like, do you think it's important to have that vision conversation? Like, is it ever too early to talk about vision and finances and money?
To me, no.
Okay.
This again might be a perception thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: money and vision, they dictate, not dictate, they influence
Hmm.
how we walk in the world, regardless of
Hmm.
whether it's date one or date 75.
Very true.
So if there are, let's say, pillars of influencers in our lives, if we are dating now, it depends on the purpose of the dating. So I'll say that,
Hmm.
right? Are we dating for fun, just because we are having a good time? Are we dating because we are interested in entertaining something more serious? Are we dating sole purpose is to have something serious, whatever
Yeah.
that. And so I think first, again, we have to walk ourselves back to say, well, what's the reason that I'm dating or that I'm interested in, you know what I mean, being with someone in the first place? Because if it's
Yeah.
just fun, then we may not have to have a conversation about vision,
Mm-mm.
because the goal isn't for us to intertwine our lives together.
Yeah.
But if the goal is potential seriousness, or I know that right now I want to find the person that I want to do life with right now, then essentially you're saying you want to intertwine, you want to braid your life
Hmm.
with someone else's life. And money and vision have to do with that. So does, you know what I mean, intimacy and values. And so it's like we're not just talking about money and vision, we're talking about a whole bunch of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think each of us has to be authentic, and hopefully we're also having the conversation from a place of abundance, not from a place of scarcity. So I'm not bringing up this
Hmm.
conversation as like, "What's your credit is?" So because I'm coming from a place that I, dated somebody who was a deadbeat or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I also want the conversation to come from the right place.
Yeah, I think it's important, right? And you said it, like making sure you're dating for the right reasons. Because every time I date, I'm very intentional on who I pick. So I never find it too early to have the money conversations because my friends always like get on me like, oh, you don't date multiple people. I'm like, I don't. I do like I got to get to know one person. It's just who I am. But I date with intentionality in mind to say that if I'm dating you, it's not just for a fun time because I'm not that type of woman. I literally probably see something with you, but understanding that sometimes it just doesn't match and like that's okay. But I feel personally, it's never too early to talk about money and vision. I want to know what you see for the future, what you see for the next 2 years, the next year. And I think those conversations, we kind of miss those because we don't want to feel like, oh, I'm bringing too much pressure, probably. But I'm applying pressure from the beginning.